How's the intermittent fasting going?
Broke it today, so I'm gonna have to start up again
How's it?
tomorrow.
How? Oh,
I haven't
that's
been
not.
weighing
That's not what
myself.
I asked. That's not what I asked. Okay. I asked you how's it going. I know that it's okay to break it once in a while, but I'm just saying since you started, how you been feeling? How's it been for you in a sense of have you seen any weight loss at all or felt a
Um,
little different?
it did feel a little bit different. On some days, like the clothes will fit a little bit better. The last couple days, it has been a little bit different. So I'm gonna have to change my diet a little bit more because I'm also trying to get off the medicine that I've been taking. So that it's been interesting because like I've been noticing just the way that I'm functioning is like I've been getting heartburn even when I don't eat. So it's like I just have to it's like for prolonged periods of time. So I just have to watch how I eat, when I eat and whatnot. So I might start doing eating earlier and then just going longer periods afterwards without and see if that might work or something like that because it's been hitting me later in the evening.
What do you mean hitting you?
I get like severe cases of gas, heartburn, and so forth. Like, and my acid and it's all because of my diaphragms like herniated.
But what time do you stop eating?
Well, I was stopping like last time I stopped eating around 5.
You would stop eating at 5?
That was my last meal.
And what time did you broke the
Eat
fast prior to that?
2,
Why
2 to
would you
5.
stop for 3 hours? Why would you stop for 3 hours? Why
That was
would
like a
you,
5 hour thing.
bro? You start your fasting at 9 p.m.
Okay,
You break your fast around 1 or 2.
that's what I'm saying. I broke it at 2.
Correct. So why did you stop eating at 5?
I just thought it was too late to eat.
What,
Well, I'm saying
5 and
either
9 are two
way.
different hours.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm saying is either way, I stopped early and I was still having acid reflux.
Take Gas X. Have mom to burp you.
The burp, that's not how that is. And I'm saying acid reflux is not, I'm getting gas, but I'm also literally having acid reflux. Like I'm spinning up acid.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. I also got to change my diet,
So,
like maybe pull away from like some meats and like less spicy foods.
oh, really?
And
Oh,
oh
yeah, really?
yeah. So I've been enjoying those hot one sauces that I got for Christmas.
Oh my God, stop it then. Jesus Christ. It's like I keep getting bruises when I fight. Fucking stop fighting. But now this here is gonna suck about that in the sense that Valentine's just happened
Yeah, good for you.
and Kim got me, cute stuff like t-shirts where she got the Star Wars one where Leia says "I love you" and the other counter shirt is Han Solo saying "I know."
Okay.
She got me that, but then she also got me those. I don't know if you've seen them, but I'm a big fan of Nerds candy.
Oh, okay.
Right? And now they have this new thing. I don't know if they did it for Valentine's or is it now a common thing now that they have gummies infused with Nerds. So regular gummy kind of candy with Nerds, like
Yeah,
kind of like
I've
tasted
seen
them.
variations. Like they had the Nerds rope. That was one type, and then they had like yeah, it was like a licorice rope, and they would attach Nerds to
Oh,
it. And then the gummy ones, I think I've seen those, but Nerds rope I've seen longer.
but anyway, that's for me is like crack. Oh my God. Now, granted, I haven't gone to the store to get my own, but she got me a bag for Valentine's. I didn't eat them all. I still have some, but it was just like, holy crap,
It's
this is
only been
really
three
good.
days.
It doesn't matter. The bag wasn't that big.
Fair
I could have
enough.
finished that in one shot, but I said, let me have control. Let me not do it. Now, we're fans of the 80s, the shows, the movies, even some of the 90s. And recently, well, nice segue, right? But recently, or not somewhat recently, that we've been seeing a resurgence of some shows. Will and Grace did a comeback. The Roseanne Barr show, which became now the spinoff. I can't remember the spinoff now because they killed her. They killed
I
the
think it was
character
like
off.
the last name.
Yeah, it was called Roseanne before, and now it's now the last name of her character. and
Hmm.
John Goodman and all the other characters are back into it. I think Knight Rider did it one time. Star Trek did it several times. Even now, there's still some Star Trek
Yeah, they're always bringing back
shows.
Star Trek as a new thing.
Right,
Full House.
Picard, correct, called Fuller House. To me, they were never as good as the original.
It's hard to capture that magic.
It is. And point in case, or case in point,
Emphasis on
the re-
case.
that we have Night Court, the revival of that, with only the original actor is John Larroquette playing the same character, but in a different dynamic or different position, where he was an assistant DA in the original show. Now he is the defending lawyer in this one.
Yeah.
I saw the first season. I couldn't finish it. I've tried watching the second season. It's a little better, but the rave that is getting in comparison to the original does
Hmm.
not match at all.
Well,
They over try where in the original, yes, there was some overacting, but it was like they were talking to each other. It was more realistic. And what they've done in the comedy of that day, I don't think you can do today. Because boy, did they push limits. Rotten Tomato doesn't even have a score on this series, maybe on the first season, but not on the other seasons. And this is what we're going to talk about 1984's Night Court. Currently streaming on Freevee, which is a branch of Amazon Prime. Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. My name is Angel,
I'm Adan.
where we give a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert. So yeah, 1984 was the premiere of Night Court. It spanned how many seasons? 9?
9 seasons. It ran from 1984 to 1992.
Even though I couldn't find the Rotten Tomato score on my phone, on IMDb is scored at 7.7 out of 10, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's out of 18,000 reviews.
Okay, there you go. Now, what we have here starring in the roles are Harry Anderson, the late Harry Anderson playing Judge R.T. Stone, John Larroquette playing Dan Fielding, Richard Mall, who also passed away. He was Bull. Charles Robinson, he played Mac Robinson. You notice how like the names kind of relate, in a sense.
Yeah, very similar to.
Yeah. The late Marquis Post, the beautiful late Marquis Post. God, I'm sorry. Even though it's old, she looks so good. Even with that haircut she had, that mullet, she still looked good. She had the MacGyver look hairstyle, but it still looked good on her.
She got it did, yeah.
Marshall Warfield, was Roz, the late Selma Diamond. She
Mhm.
played Selma. The late Florence Hullop, who played Florence. You also have William Uta, who played Phil, the drunk. Ellen Foley was Billy, and some other ones here. You have John Aston, who was Buddy, who was one of the original Gomez from the Addams family, the black and
Yes.
white,
Mhm.
which was great. Mel Torme, the late Mel Torme, which was Harry's idol. You also
Paula
have
Kelly.
who's that?
She was the very first public defender.
Public defendant, or was she? Who?
She was the first public defender. Season 1.
Who? The black woman.
Yeah. Paula Kelly.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes. And you also have other characters. Bumper Robinson, who was Leon the kid.
Mhm.
He was on many things. He was in different world. There was other things. You also have here Brent Spinner or Spiner, and we talked about Star Trek. He was Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes, and he was a recurring character.
Yes, a lot of them were. A lot of these characters were recurring in different fashions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have, for example, Walter Ulkeres, Kathy McCully, Phil Leeds, who was Santa Claus, and he was a judge. But yes, and back in that day, you have a lot of them. Who's the comedian who was gay at one time? He was a doctor, another one, a clown.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Gilbert Godfrey was in it. The sexy Judy Landers was in it. Stuart Pankin, he was also in it a couple of times. Jesus Christ.
Jack Riley. He was Beepo the Clown.
Jack Riley, yeah. So they had the list, and it was very common back then. Three's Company did it at one time, where you have an actor come in different times, hopefully because we had reruns, but we didn't have like what we have now in the sense of streaming, where you can watch these shows back to back effortlessly to see these. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, that's the same guy, but playing a different character.
Yeah.
And after like 2 years, you forget. And back in the day, you would have reruns. So you'll see it the first season, the first 22 episodes, and then summer will be happening and then replaying the same episodes in the same time spot before I went to syndication, like before I went on to the other sub channels besides ABC, NBC, or CBS.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I love this show. The theme takes me back. The chemistry of these characters is amazing. It's like Taxi. It's like the Bosom Buddies. Is like Perfect Strangers. Is even like the Cosby Show, where you have different characters with their own persona that fits perfectly. Welcome Back, Carter is another one that had the same thing. They have different characters, different backgrounds, but they all could relate.
Oh yeah.
Now, I remember you watching it at my house one time in the backyard. Have you ever watched it before, prior to that?
Yeah, when I was a kid. So like that one time I watched it in your backyard. Prior to that was like 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally remember the last time watching it was like New Jersey.
Okay.
Back in the 90s.
Well,
and even at that,
90s,
it was like usually late night I would watch it. Like
right.
Nick at Night kind of situation.
Well,
I think they had it.
Oh, well. I doubt. Maybe TBS.
Maybe TBS. Or maybe they had it on USA. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I know they had it in syndication, and then again, streaming happened, and so it's been like pushed to the side. Like I'm surprised I was able to find it on streaming, because usually it's like the other ones were the other antenna channels that you have to be skimming. That's where you found it at my house. You were skimming and it just popped up.
Happened to be on there. It's funny too, because like going back on like nostalgia lane, like I remember characters, but I didn't remember the order of when they were there or who was there. Mm-hmm. And so like I remember apparently I watched season 1 and I didn't realize season 1 was season 1. Like I thought that was like later on in the years as a kid, because I was like, oh, I remember seeing Christine's character, Marky Post, more often. So I would think another character showing up was a different character for a different season or something like that. Right. So like I thought Marky Post was always there.
In the first season, they were like trying to figure things out.
Even in season 2.
Well, still, yes. Because it was like they'll change a character here, they'll change a character there. The same person will always be John Larroquette's character, Dan.
Yep.
Bull will always be the same. Harry will always be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They tried different defendant lawyers, or defense lawyers, excuse me. They tried different court clerks.
Yeah.
Mac was the one that held it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when Marky Post came in, held it. Like Billy was okay. I liked the first one, the black one. Like, what was her character's name again?
The character was Liz Williams.
I liked her.
Yeah.
I did. I liked her a lot. Billy she was very to New York,
yes,
in my opinion. And she was kind of like Harry's equal, because Harry was more like old school approach in the sense of how he moved, how he talked. He moved like very dramatic in the sense when he'll run down the hallway or to enter a room, he'll put one shoulder back, one shoulder forward, and like give you the side profile like they did back in the black and whites movies.
And also like I guess that shows through his character, because like his idol was Mel Torme, and right. Mel Torme was not, even back then, was not a individual of that time.
He is very old school, and there's very different music that he did. It was kind of like in the way of Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like that, right? And then you have like Dan, who is like Sam Malone from Cheers, the womanizer and stuff like that,
but dirtier,
and
greedier.
Yes. So I'm still watching the show. I'm like in season 4. Where are you?
I'm at 9.
On season 4?
9, season 9. I'm like on episode 7 or 8.
On season 9?
Season 9.
Dude, where do you have the time to watch all this?
Well, first of all,
do Do you literally watch it, or do you just have it in the black background and you like rewind it
Good
to
question.
hear a funny?
So it got to the point where I was watching it and I stopped watching everything else, and I was just
Hmm.
having it all the time playing.
Hmm.
Sometimes it was just to have it in the background because it can like it became that thing that it was just comforting to have in the background. And even though I'm playing in the background, it was still entertaining. Like I'll stop and laugh at hearing the jokes. And I would fall asleep and then I have to start over from where I thought I
Hmm.
left off.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, no, it was mostly I stopped watching anything else I would watch, and then that was the only thing playing in like background watching dedication.
I have to watch, and so I can't do that. I had to pay attention because sometimes the comedy is so quick.
It is. It's not dumbed
You know,
down and like it's
no,
a lot of
it'll be
silly
like.
jokes, but
Mhm.
like there's intelligent jokes in there too.
Oh, and there's some like a lot of serious matters as well. A lot of times, like even though it's not like in the sense of Three's Company, where it's kind of redundant, where one or two of the roommates will hear something and be confused about it or misinterpret it.
Yeah.
And so the whole episode they're going through it, and then at the end they fix it. Or like the Goldbergs we have today. I'm not sure if it's still playing, but I used to love the Goldbergs.
Mhm.
But then I saw a pattern.
Yeah.
The mom gets involved too heavily, and then the kids get annoyed, and then they put their foot down, and then she gets her feelings hurt, and then the kids feel guilty, and then they come. It's like it's always the same. It's always the same. If not the
Yeah.
kids, it's the husband. They put their foot down, and she's like, "I'm just trying to be a love, doing the best I can." Kind of something like that our mom does. Makes them feel guilty for
Yeah.
interfering. But here, it felt like even though they had cases, in the beginning it was like that. In the beginning, it was just maybe one case at a time per episode. And then they got to a place where more cases were going through the night. It was like, is this person guilty? Simple. Is it guilty? Is the person, it was like very civil lawsuits or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Nothing major.
like I think they didn't get into doing to be continued until somewhere around season 3 or 4. Like
Oh,
a lot
season two.
they
They
did in
did a
season 2.
couple. Yeah, like a couple. It was like one or two. It was like, it wasn't heavy. I just saw one. They did that with Dan going to the hospital, needed to have surgery.
Yes, yes.
He was in a coma
Mhm.
for 3 days. I just finished seeing that. And so that was a two-parter. Regardless of this season 3, or no, season 4, what I'm watching now, is the winning team, the cast that is.
Yeah, it's where it gets the most stable, and then they're pretty much
Correct.
just the same characters you're gonna
Cast.
see casting
Correct. The same
you're gonna
cast,
see
right.
throughout.
When Marky Post and Marsha Warfield, Roz,
Yeah,
and Christine were the main like stable of the crew because everyone else was the same.
yeah,
That's what for me was a home run. That group was amazing. Yes, you had Selma. She was the sarcastic bailiff. You have Flo, that was also sarcastic. You
mhm.
have Roz, also sarcastic, but in their own way. Flo and Selma were very similar, mainly because of their age.
Well,
That's
and
pretty much what it
also
is.
there are no nonsense attitudes.
But so is Roz.
Yeah,
But the people that for me that stood out, because there's so many great episodes or great moments, it's kind of hard to pinpoint.
true.
It boils down to me, Bull and Dan.
They
Those are
were
my two.
the
They're
crutches
like
of the
the
show.
correct. They're like the extreme opposite,
Yeah, and Bull always seemed to have money.
but not have money
Exactly.
at the
He
same
lived
time
a very simple life, in all honesty. But like you like, Bull, I need $5,000. He'll pull out 5 grand in cash.
because he had he didn't trust the banks
Or like they were like, "Bull, where'd you get like 125,000?" He's like, "Oh, apparently I gave blood." He's like, "I got a rare type."
right, or the one where he and Flo compare checks
Yes.
and then he finds out he's been underpaid and she was getting overpaid and he got like a what like 30 grand due back or something like that
Yeah.
or something crazy.
Or when he
And then you
gave.
have Dan. I'm sorry,
Oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead. No, then you have Dan, who is an assistant DA who never has money.
Yeah.
He should be making boku. He's a person of the city and again, a high position, but he has no money apparently.
I want to say no. In the first season, he had money, and then he made some bad investments, and he lost it all. and then like
Right,
after that, he
but
could never regain it back.
correct. He bought a car that Bull destroyed, a
Yes,
Corvette, something like that, that destroyed, or he made a bad investment. It was too late. Like it was always groveling for money.
yes,
Talking about blood, he had is it Phil?
yeah. Phil
The
will
bum
sell his blood, and then
for
he'll
him.
take a cut of the proceeds.
Right. So
Hmm.
I was like, Jesus. But I always laughed. He always had me hysterics
Oh yeah.
because his sarcasm, the way he did. I remember like we were watching Night Court together, and it was a contest in a way between him and Harry of a girl had to pick which one,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And then she picks Dan, and he goes all ballistic and crazy, celebrates, and he puts his hand on his desk. He points to the floor, and he goes, it's just so like who's he pointing to? But it's just so funny how he did it. I mean, to me, Dan always cracks me up,
Yeah,
but then Bull cracks me up in a different manner because he is, he's a beast of a man with a
like a
heart of
child's
gold.
heart.
Yeah, a heart of gold. Where
He's like, okay.
right? Oh, you said the one with the dummy, the Muppet,
Oh yeah, yeah. He's like,
and did
you're
the same thing.
perfect.
Exactly. Uh, but no, but the thing is, like, Dan is such a dick, but he's not because you see him, he'll come around and save the day, if you will, with an act of kindness or a sympathy.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like like you to quote you, like he is a dick, but those moments where he comes out almost out of character is the most heartfelt moments of the show. Like he has the most genuine. I don't know if you're at this part, but I think you are. Like when Harry thought he was out of the job.
Oh, when he quit
Yeah, when he quit, um,
because he
of a
quit
kid
because
getting shot.
a kid got shot.
But Harry took that because like he's like calling him a pig, and he's like he thinks it's his fault and all that stuff, and it's just a rough case. He's like, so you're no longer a judge. He's like, no, and he's like, you arrogant, and he just unloads all this stuff. And he's like, and he just insults him for a good solid like 15-20 seconds, and then he goes,
No,
but you're the best person I know. You're the best judge, the most fair, and he starts going into the praises.
right. And then Harry remembered when
Yeah.
he returned. But yeah, yeah,
he's
he
like
returned.
he's like, oh, so all my things I said. He's like, yeah, the insults.
I mean, it's just so many great moments.
And when they have
I,
the
wa-
surprise
I
guest, like the guest actors, like I
mhm.
episode 2, Michael J. Fox.
Oh no, but
Yeah.
a lot of these, yeah, like you have these actors, a lot of them are like you have some actors who've been established, who's been around for a while,
Hmm.
but then you also have actors, like you said, Michael J. Fox in it, is like before they became who they became.
Exactly.
Because we know we have the guy who played Data on Star Trek: The Next Generation, and he's here playing a farmer, if you will, who's trilingual apparently and stuff like that. And then you also have,
Pam
oh
Grier was on
geez,
the show.
Pam Grier. Yes, I forgot that she was on that show. Well, of course, it's just one episode, but Pam Grier,
3 actually.
freaking us. She was in three.
She was in 3 episodes.
I saw the one. She was pregnant and she had a baby.
Oh, yeah, she was. I think she played some other characters too. Is one of those things.
Since I'm on season 4, I guess I have a little more to catch up on. And then the ones to me I like the most are the serious ones.
Hmm.
In the sense like the serious moment where, like, say, like when Roz almost killed herself,
Oh, when she found out she was diabetic. Hmm.
and who saved her?
Dan.
Dan. And the thing is, like, but that's something that can happen. Someone can have a reaction
Yeah.
and to something and not know and think that. The one where I liked where the boy, the kid that Harry was about to adopt,
Oh
Leon,
yeah, Leon. When
and
he comes
Leon.
back or when he
No,
leaves?
not when he comes back, because that's the Halloween special.
Yeah.
But where initially, like, he's fostering Leon. Leon gets adopted by another family, but their bond with each other, Leon and Harry, are so tight that Leon actually runs away.
Yeah, Leon wanted Harry to be his father.
Correct. But that moment when Leon runs away, because he tells him, if you chase me, I'll run away. You can't catch me. He says, I know that. But he runs away. Harry tries to get him. but the camera just stays on that door that the two went through.
Mm-hmm.
And like 10 seconds, which felt like 3 minutes, then Harry comes back in and just sits and it's credits. And I was just like, wow, that's powerful. What they did with Night Court, and they've done it with other shows. I would say Taxi, I would say Cheers, I would
Mm-hmm.
say maybe Frazier or Welcome Back Carter. They
Yeah.
did some serious stuff with Welcome Back Carter. Different Strokes, they did stuff like that too.
MASH.
Family Matters. Yes, they have these, like, yes, it's based off a comedy, but they'll have some tough moments. Now, granted, like those shows, they'll say on a special different folks, or they'll do something like that. They didn't do that with Night Court. They just left it as it was and kept it, I won't say as real as possible, but
It would be
touched.
cartoony at times, but the subject matter
Yeah.
was evident.
Now, I am no lawyer. I don't know how the court system works, but I do find it weird that they have the same two lawyers for everything. I can understand the bailiffs. I can understand the judges. I can understand the court clerk. They're there, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you had the same DA, the same defense attorney for all the cases that night or that shift.
Yeah.
I
It
think
was
that's a little,
oversimplified. Yeah. Because
yeah, a little
realistically,
oversimplified.
Dan even said it, like, I have a team that I'd work with and whatnot. But then, like, I think there was one episode later on where they're like interviewing the team. They're like, oh, yeah, he's a scumbag.
No, but I'm just saying, just some things are kind of far fetched or untrue.
True.
Now, is that forgiven? Yes, because
Mhm.
am I having a blast rewatching these episodes? Yes. Some things I remember, some things I forgot. Oh, you know who else is in there? Is Lady Deathstrike.
Kelly Hugh. Yeah. Yeah. She's in there.
Yes, she's in an episode. Also, the guy from Renegade in the same episode.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Our last review, Masters of the Universe.
Dolph Lundgren.
No, the cat, the voice of the cat, from radio, news radio.
Oh, yes, he's in it. Oh, he was just in it. I just saw him. Yeah, I just saw that. Stephen Root.
Yeah. He played like Death.
Death.
Yeah. That was the episode he played Death.
He played something else too because he had another episode in there.
Mm-hmm.
He was. I can't remember right now, but he was another character there that played himself, or not himself, but not Death. That's for sure.
Well, it was a person that believed he was Death. He was actually a surgeon. John Cheadle, Don Cheadle was in it.
Yeah, I was like John. I don't think John was in there.
No, he Don Cheadle. He was also in an episode too. There's so many what we would consider guest characters, but at that time they were like up and comers.
Well, how about this? You have K. Luke. Where do we know him from?
I can't
Kung
remember.
Fu.
Oh, that was Kung Fu?
He was the blind monk.
Oh, his hair was regular this time.
Well, he had hair, right? And then he was also, I believe he was also the voice for Han and Enter the Dragon.
Okay. They've ran everything from like financial woes to problems with illness, to problems with mental stability, where people tried to take their own lives. This was like a time where, like, now if you run an episode like that where someone even talks about doing that kind of stuff, there's an infomercial right afterwards. Understandably so, but like back then they didn't do that.
They did. They did like different strokes like that when they before the episode start. One of the actors will come on and just give a heads up. Like now we have kind of like, oh yeah, they'll come in and says this is going to be a little touching, so just be aware, blah blah. Like nowadays though, it's like on the screen, like is written.
Yeah.
Due to the violence of the nature of the episode, blah blah blah, so like that. But back then, yes, you have them. Someone of comfort that the audience can relate to will come in and say that yes.
Oh, okay.
And then you're right. And then like afterwards, the episode most likely they'll have another episode from another show, say like a news series to like say for anyone who's been victims of it, they can call or they can say, hey, you're not alone. Oh, the girl from also the hooker that
doesn't narrow down the category.
No, well, no. There's a hooker that took bulls for everything he had,
Yeah.
and she was
Mhm.
Ralph Macchio's mother in The Karate Kid.
No way.
That's why she played Ralph
Okay.
Macchio's. Yeah, she played Mama LaRusso.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, since there's so many episodes and all that stuff,
Yeah.
do you have a favorite moment? I mean, there's so many for me. I just came to that. So that's why I just narrowed down to two characters in the sense of that's who I liked. My least favorite was Billy, but my
Okay.
most favorite was Dan and Bull. Those two are like two sides of a coin in that aspect.
Yeah. That Billy was
The blonde, the short hair blonde
oh,
that talked like
I'm
that talked like New York.
I'm thinking of, was it Bobby or Bob? His father
Whose father?
or a father-in-law.
Buddy,
Buddy.
That's Gomez from the Adams Family.
Yes. He's like, but I'm doing better now.
Oh, he was in the first season
Yeah.
as a
He's the one
medical
that
patient.
was that he had hypochondriac or something like that.
Right. You always thought something was wrong with him.
And then he's like Mac. He's like,
Wait a
it
minute. Was it the
works.
first season? Oh, second season. It was the second season. That's when Mac came there.
Oh,
The first
yes.
season, the girl didn't come back.
You're
So
right.
second
It was with
season-
Billy because he didn't want to get his appendix checked out.
Right. And Billy was like, you mean something to me.
Yeah.
But also, here you go. So talking about that, the term, you don't shit where you eat, right?
Oh yeah. That Harry and Dan both
wanted Christine, but
and Billy.
But Harry, I don't think Dan wanted Billy as much as Harry did.
Not as much, but if Dan got the chance, he would have.
Well, he wouldn't turn it down because listen, some of the talent that he was going after, I was like, oh boy, he was just going for anything that moved.
Pretty much for the most part.
And the clerk from the first season was going after Harry.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Harry was going after her, even though she had a fiance.
Yep.
So it's like,
and Harry goes after Christine.
oh no,
times.
yeah, I said that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But come on, Marky Post was freaking smoking. Oh my God, her body, even that haircut was horrible, still sexy. And then when she was there as a naughty witch or something like that.
That episode, oh yes,
oh boy.
And then the episode where Dan and Harry are competing over her friend at a.
Oh, that's the one. That's what I was telling you about. The one, the contest.
Yes, she's like, you came out dressed like that, and she pulls out her dress.
Right.
So she fired.
She had body. She had body.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, she passed away too. Yeah. The only person living now, I think, from today is Mac, Roz, and Dan.
No, Mac, I think, just passed away not too long ago too.
No.
I'm gonna double check right now for you before I call myself a liar. Yeah, same year as Marky Post, 2021.
What? So
Charles
only
Robinson.
now is Roz and Dan that's still alive? She had an appearance on the new revival series.
Yeah.
Richard Mall, Bull has passed away too.
Harry was in 2018. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cancer. I think they all passed away. Marky, Post, Richard Mall, and Harry, I think all had cancer when they died. Wow.
I mean, it is shocking when you think about it. Like, wow, I grew up with these characters and they're no longer with us.
Right. And, like Richard Mall, he played a lot of great roles in the sense of villains and stuff like that. And John Larroquette was in a great classic movie himself called Stripes with Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm.
He was hysterical in that movie. Have you seen the new Night Court? I'm not sure if I asked you that.
I haven't had the privilege to watch it yet.
Don't. No, it seriously is not. As I mentioned earlier, it cannot hold a match to what the original has done. Everyone talks, except for Dan.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like everyone talks to the audience instead of to each other. That's what I loved about like Taxi, Cheers, Night Court. They had conversations with each other.
Yeah.
You have here and here where it always sounds like there's a laugh machine being played because even though it should be in a live audience, but it seems like a laugh track.
There are times where it doesn't sound like a laugh track. Like you hear like one person's voice over another, their reaction, and that's a general reaction.
That's what I'm saying. Where in the original, not the original, but the revival,
mm-hmm.
It has that laugh track. They'll laugh as someone sneezes. I mean, the jokes are not funny at all. There are sometimes like a giggle here and there, but where in the original, there are moments where I'm hurting from laughing so hard. My
Yes.
face is like gets tight, so I got to massage it.
You know what's
And
funny? Like, I'll put it this way: like, I was watching it in the living room, and Mom's like, didn't know I was watching Night Court, and she'll hear a joke, and she'll start cracking up, and she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "I'm watching Night Court," and she sat down, and she was openly laughing with me as we're watching the
oh
show.
yeah, Kim, same thing. Kim's like, "You're watching that? You're watching that old show?" I go,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah," and then she'll watch it with me, and she starts laughing. I was like, "See, this is what I'm telling. Like, why are you putting it down when you? It's funny." And she'll be laughing more at Bull,
Great
but
moment. It's like, oh, Dan's a mature adult. It's like, oh, we got to get to the cafeteria. Dan's having a fight with a woman. He comes out there. Dan's laying in the buffet line, and there's Dan's best friend, who is now a woman, soon to be
yes,
married. And they go, "What happened?" And Dan's friend goes, "He was being a little bitch."
they were like so progressive in that way because
Yes.
like if you have that now, it'll be like a whole like big thing in a way of what have a million hits, whatever you want to call it. It'll go viral.
Or they're
But
doing
it's
it for
like
the clout or whatever. Yeah.
correct, and or is very woke. But
Uh-huh.
the thing is, transsexuality
Was
has been around for
there
a while.
for 40 years.
No, before that,
Well, I
I'm just
mean,
saying
for the show.
correct for the show. But transsexual people have been around pretty much since we've been around in the sense of humanity. But like,
Hmm.
oh, so, but yes, they touch on things, but then again, they touch it on and then you move on. It's like, okay, this is part of reality in a sense of what people go through or deal with. Adoption, not knowing your real parents, or now knowing your parents, or what have you, being diabetic, or facing the age, like
Workplace
for Flo.
harassment,
Yes,
unwanted attraction from one person to another,
correct.
being in a relationship with someone who's disabled, and they go through all those things.
Oh yes, that same one exactly. The Harry's friend who was disabled had no legs, and then she showed up with legs
Oh,
because
I
she
was
was
thinking
trying to.
about the blind clerk that substituted for Mac, who ended up started dating Bull.
Oh,
But yes, you're right. That one also.
I mean, I don't know. This show is so good in so many levels. This is so worth the watch. The revival Night Court is not. Bull is a silly. He's a simpleton, but he'll crush you. He'll defend you if he finds you that you're his friend. He'll defend you, even if you're a dick. He got your
Yeah.
back. You have Dan, who's a dick, but will defend you because he knows your character. He and you have Harry, who's always good at heart and always level-headed, pretty much in all way, but he'll get down and dirty if he needs to, but is in a good way,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. In the sense, like he has a reason for what he's doing. He did that with Leon. He did with other people. And then when he had that one moment, he broke down in the sense of like he thinks that he's not making a difference. Dan comes around and say, "Hey, you are making a difference." Marquee Post, Christine, Miss Goody Two Shoes.
The
She
Girl
hates being
Scout.
called Miss. She's a Girl Scout. She hates being called it, even though that's what she is. But then she is the kind of person that also will break out of her character.
Yeah.
Instant with Flo. She's the one that burned the birth certificate, thinking that was Harry because it was a magic trick.
Hmm.
But she did it. She learned that trick and saved Flo, even though Flo died shortly after in real life.
Interesting to me also that they didn't. Those characters literally died in life while that show was on. They didn't give them a silly knockoff, write them off script. They homaged them basically. They're like,
Oh
yeah,
yes,
they passed away. They passed away in the show. There's no way they acknowledged that.
correct. Yes, they put them in the context, like why, like in the sense, like you don't change the character and give a same name. They say no. Let's respect the character. Let's
Hmm.
respect the actress.
And they'll
So
even do
some.
like episode of like a week or morning for that character written into the story in the sense that Bull struggled with changing from Selma to Flo.
Oh yes, but in the beginning of that episode, you didn't know that. It was
Hmm.
after that episode when
Yeah.
they're looking for new bailiffs. You don't know why they're looking for new bailiffs, and then after the credits, they come back and you see that Bull's all getting drunk, probably because reality is hitting him.
Yeah.
but he knew that they're looking for a new bailiff. And then, but you see that's a touchy moment where he says, "I want answers. I don't want them now." But then
Mm-hmm.
he goes crazy. Oh, that's another one too that I found hysterical because, and I rewatched it because I wanted Kim to watch it because I thought freaking hysterical. I laughed even harder the second time,
Mm-hmm.
even though I knew it was coming. Where Bull puts Dan in a human pretzel. That on that in that episode
I
of
remember
where
that.
he's drunk and he's Selma's gone, and I have to say Dan was very flexible in
Mm-hmm.
his younger years. He's sitting on the desk the whole time, and he looks like he's just chilling, trying to recoup from what happened. Bull apologizes to him, and then Dan walks with a hunched over. Is a don't worry, big guy. I understand. I understand. He just walks out, still hunched over from being in a human pretzel.
Yeah.
I know. I just found that hysterical. Kim was like, eh. She laughed at Bull, his stuff, but not at Dan. I don't know why. Maybe it reminds her of me, him of me. I guess I don't know.
It was like,
I see.
like in the impressions of like Dan running for district attorney and he got outvoted by a dead man.
Yes,
It's like, I have stood next to death and people liked him better.
exactly. Or when when he just came out of a coma for having sex after having surgery or whatever,
Yeah.
and then he says, "I'm going to change," and he calls the girl who's been like comes and goes out of his life
And he
just
uses
to
him
have that.
basically.
Yeah, just for that one magical night, like almost like a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
After telling her, "No, I can't do it anymore." Yes, I'm naked. He
he,
just goes like,
he reclines
he,
back.
he cries back, and he's like, "Oh yes, this is definitely worth the watch." I am so happy that I can watch it on Freevee. I was looking for it,
Without the
and
commercials, I know.
well, no, the thing was, no, I still get commercials on Freevee, and that's okay
Yeah.
because I was going to buy the season. That's how much I missed the show. That was my top show. Like my top show, like Thursday night on NBC was perfect. You had like Family Ties. Then you have the Cosby Show before we knew what he was about. Then you have Night Court. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you had also maybe not Seinfeld, but something else. It was like four comedy shows back to back. Oh, Cheers.
Yeah,
So you
that sounds
had
about
that.
right.
Yeah. And then before that, I think Taxi was ABC. Thursday night was Laugh Night. And I'm so glad I'm rewatching these. It's like, of course, there's some things I remember, and there's a lot I forgot. And my God, it holds up today.
Really
Granted,
does.
the sensitive police will probably get offended, especially with Dan, and the language they used back then would not hold up today. That's why today's Night Court, the revival one, is so much on tippy toes.
Mm-hmm.
Funny is funny. Yes, not everyone's going to get it, but man, funny is funny. Just let the humor happen. Don't force it down our throats. Just let it happen, and the laughter will be there. Oh, here's another one that I love, where is Dan's birthday, and he has a date with a hot chick. That at 12:01 she climaxes and she's done,
Uh,
and they're at Harry's place, and where
Harry's doing all the magic tricks.
right, and it all backfires. But Bull has a cake for him, and is like an X-rated picture cake,
You
whatever.
never get to see what the cake is, but your imagination is
No,
there.
right. But then like something happens where Dan takes the cake to the kitchen, right? And there's
Mm-hmm.
something happening with Harry and I guess the kid, whatever. Dan shows up with icing all over his face as if he went down and dirty on it. Oh my God. I mean, just in your imagination, it goes wild. Like what was, like you said, what was on that cake and what did he exactly do? But you get the picture. You get the picture.
Lou Ferrigno was in there. That was when
Oh,
Bull
yes.
was invited to be a
The
wrestler.
wrestler, the
Um,
bailiff.
the bailiff. I think it was the same episode where Dan was being like I was talking about him running for district attorney. He loses. He gets the cake, and that's like one of the first genuine moments where he almost breaks his being a dick. And he's like, "This is genuinely the nicest." And he stops himself. Thank you. I'll never forget this. And he just puts the cake in his briefcase and
The
shuts the
briefcase. He
briefcase.
just leaves.
He shuts the briefcase. You see the cake pour out from the sides.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I
that
know.
it's just so many good small moments. Even
Yes.
when they had Mel Torme show up, Uh,
Milton Tremaine showed up a couple of times, I believe, but the first
and
time,
yes.
and they keep missing each other. And he's at the water fountain,
Hmm.
and he's like, and Harry's right there. His idol's drinking. He says, "Boy, there's some real jerks just hugging up, right, Mac?" Yes, right, sir. And
One of the good episodes. Like Bull's neighbor leaves a kid with him.
oh
And
yes, that's like that's in season one.
season 2.
No, this is with the black woman
Yeah.
lawyer.
Wait.
Season one. Billy came in season two.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking he adopts like another kid, like it's not adopted. It's like he's one of those Big Brother programs, or like father for
Oh
volunteer
yes,
father.
yes, yes, yes. Okay.
But yeah, the one where he's taking care of a baby. That's also a really good episode. It's the first time that Dan's in Paul's apartment, and he's like,
And
"You
the
got
and
to
the,
see like this toilet. You got to see this." He's like, "Just take it." Everything that does happening, Dan just focuses on all the things that are around him.
well, also the couches is made out of concrete
Yes, or that he's right next to the subway train.
subway, right? But then his door is makeshift to fit for his height.
Yep.
Not the door, but the entryway. But then I like the one with Bull. He wrote a book,
Yes.
and it's about him. It's a autobiography, if you will,
Oh, you're not
of
talking
what
about
he did.
the kids book?
The kids' book.
Yes, and they're like, this is the most atrocious, horrifying thing ever written, and we're still having nightmares.
Right. And the thing is, and then he writes another one and it sounded really good, but the title was like, holy shit, dude, you got some issues. Yeah, really got some issues. But no, that book was about like him and how he was treated when he was younger.
Yeah. Hmm.
And, and then no one could see it. But what I found was like, there's some faux pas here. There's a lot of faux pas, of course, but in the sense where that one, he breaks his hands. He's wearing his bailiff suit and he has his hands casted. And I was like, but how can he get in and out of that suit when the cast is bigger than the sleeves?
Yeah.
Definitely worth the watch. If you have Freebie and you have time to binge 9 seasons, definitely do it.
I would say it's
I'm
even
having
good just having it in the background, honestly. Like, no, hear me out. Like, just like having it in the background, hearing the comedy go off, you will crack up. It's not necessarily you have to like watch all the humor, but
but
it's
sometimes you
just good.
do.
You do. It pulls you back
Sometimes you
in.
do.
It pulls you back in. I'm not saying it's something that you don't need to watch. I'm saying it's just good to like audibly hear, and then like if you
Mhm.
preferred,
But
watch.
but no, you have to because like again, like Dan and Bull,
Yeah.
their facial expressions on
Well,
certain things are hysterical. Come on.
I would say this: like, I went to sleep watching the show, feeling better watching the show. It was just comforting to watch the
Oh
show.
no,
Yeah.
yes, no, it is. It is a very good show. Like I said, it hits a lot of points, stuff that anyone can relate to in one way or another. The characters are written well. The characters are performed well.
Yeah.
Oh, what's also in there? Fran Drescher. I forgot about. I just saw that. Fran Drescher was in it. She played a person who like suffers from bipolarism.
Oh yeah.
And there's another one, I know later on that suffers from multiple personality disorder.
Was it personality disorder? Or is it the one that like replicates scenes from
Movie
movies?
scenes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what it is. But yes, but Fran Drescher was in it, and holy crap,
Yes.
she's sexy without that annoying voice. Because she doesn't do that voice. She doesn't do "Hello, how are you? I'm
She wasn't.
Fran
Yeah, she wasn't
Drescher."
doing that
She was
voice
like
at all.
very. That shows that pretty much that she did it. She did it for the character.
Mm-hmm.
But oh yeah, so it was great in that aspect too. Like see like where some actors started from with small roles until they got
Yes.
that bigger ass roles that they were known for. All right, I can talk about these all day, but
There's
not
so
going
many
to.
episodes that we could.
So many great episodes, so many great moments.
And just to be
But
official
anyway,
for everybody out there, we were technically only supposed to do season 1.
correct.
And I went further, and then you're like, let me watch more. I'm like, you don't have to watch more to do the review.
Well, no, but the thing is, you should because season 1 you have like one
You're right in the
cast
sense that the
pretty much.
casting didn't become the all-star cast until like season
Excuse
3 and
me.
4.
Right. Well, no, yeah, when season 4 or no, season 3, no, but really season 4 is when it's really from there on out, it's the same cast.
Yeah.
Roz, Bull, Dan, Harry, Christine, Mac.
Mhm.
And then you have consistent side players like Phil and Art. But though that crew for those 6 seasons, that's the season I mostly remember.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is our throwback review of 1984 Night Court. Have you seen it? What was your favorite one? Who's your favorite character? Who's your least favorite character? And as always, if you have a show or series you'd like us to review, please let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Tales of Two Bros. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adan.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.